I'm going to start it off with a meme. All right, this is unusual for me. Normally I start with like a article or some sort of something happening. I want to start with a meme today. And I think you're going to see it and you're going to know exactly why this is the meme that I'm starting with. Check this out. Have you seen this meme floating around? Have you seen it? Yeah. This is 4 prominent people in our government inciting violence. Or if not inciting, encouraging. Well, I don't know what the difference is. They seem to think that the context of what they're saying makes a difference because for some reason they've taken the president of the United States, who has literally called for no violence, saying we cannot be violent. I condemn all violence. Anyone who's being violent, you're in the wrong. They are turning that context into he's inciting an insurrection. But somehow these words don't incite violence at all. You know what? Let's break down each one, shall we? Let's see. Here we go. This is one of them, the Ayanna Presley, who is on the top left here. All right, she's sparks anger by calling for unrest in the streets in response to threats to the postal system. Yep, that's right. So she is calling out, yep, you said there needs to be unrest in the streets. When in reality, all of those postal things were unfounded. All right, I was paying attention to those, the post office was rehabbing old post boxes and putting new ones down. So they were getting pictures of old post boxes and going, look, they're taking away the post office. They're trying to ruin mail-in voting. When in reality, they were just swapping them out to newer, stronger, more secure boxes. My goodness, they ran with that story so strongly. But there needs to be unrest in the streets. What does that even mean? What are you trying to say? Because they're swapping out mailboxes? Unrest? What does that mean? What does unrest in the streets mean? What has there been for months and months on end? There needs to be more unrest? Oh, let's continue. It gets even better. All right, let's see. Who's next on the list here? Kamala Harris. This was an interview that she was doing. And of course, she was saying they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before the election. They're not going to stop after the election. And then she continues to say they shouldn't. We shouldn't. She's literally saying she's a part of it, that she's gonna, that she said the term we. So she's saying, yeah, they're not going to stop and we're not going to stop. What? How is that not condoning the violence that had been going on? They shouldn't stop. Wait, what? They're burning down cities across this country. Let's go back to that meme, shall we? Yep. Protesters should not let up. She said that in the interview. So what? You're saying they should continue to burn down this country that you claim to be rooting for? Like that you're running for the vice presidency of this country? That you're telling the people that are burning it down to continue and that they should even after the election? And this was at the time where they didn't even know who was going to be the winner. It doesn't matter. Whoever wins or lose, they should continue. They should continue burning down this country, fighting to burn down. My gosh. Who is inciting violence again? Oh my gosh. Let's continue. Oh yes. We shall continue. Oh, this is interesting. I love this too, because this is from today. George Stephanopoulos, he says, how dangerous is it to be a member of Congress right now? Representative Steny Hoyer says, I think there's a concern of members who were confronted by MAGA hat-wearing individuals who verbally assaulted our members. You know what? What is that? Let's go back to the meme, shall we? Let's reference our meme. Yes, here we go. If you see anybody from that cabinet, the Trump administration, mind you, is who she's referring to. We'll get into that. In a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline store, you should get out and create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them that they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. What? What is she suggesting? Now, mind you, This was from 2018. Check this out. Let me see it. Here it is. Maxine what? Why isn't it showing? Come on. Show the website. No, it's not showing the website, huh? All right, I'll open a new website. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Maxine Waters encourages supporters to harass Trump administration officials. She's literally calling for people to harass anyone in the Trump administration. How is that any different at all? What? Excuse me? What's the difference? There is no difference. That's the answer. There's literally no difference between her calling for her supporters to crowd around anyone in the Trump administration. I don't know why my OBS isn't working. There's no difference. Oh yeah, so let's go back to that tweet I was just referencing. There is a concern of members who were confronted by MAGA hat wearing individuals. All right, let me just pose a question for you here. Let me just pose this here hypothetical question. Say Trump told his followers, hey, look, if you see anyone in the Biden administration, make a crowd, get up around them. And if you see them in a gas station, at a restaurant, make it clear that they're not welcome anymore. What do you think the news would do with that information? My gosh, I'm sure you could imagine. Well, it sure wouldn't be the CNN article that's saying Maxine Waters, she encourages supporters to harass Trump administration officials. What? Called upon her supporters to publicly confront and harass members of the Trump administration in response to the zero tolerance policy that led to separation of families at the border. Who put that into place? Who made those cages? Oh, right, that was Obama. Right. Yeah. But they like to blame Trump on everything, don't they? Yes, they do. They certainly do. Let's continue. Let's go back to that meme, shall we? Who's next on the list? Ah, yes. Nancy Pelosi. I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Well, maybe there will be. What is that? How does that sound familiar? What is that? Oh, that's right. Someone said it today. And it was a Republican. So, of course, they freaked out. It's from Don Jr. Said, Representative Louis Gohmert, a Republican from Texas, is being canceled by leftist media for inciting violence by literally quoting Nancy Pelosi verbatim. He says it's the most 2021 thing ever. That's correct. The left Twitter went nuts today. All I could see was inciting violence, get him. And then they were like, oh, that was a quote from Nancy Pelosi. That was him trolling all of you by using her exact words. That's right. He was just quoting from Robbie Starbuck. He was quoting Nancy Pelosi from 2008. That's right. Here's the video. Pelosi's extreme rhetoric. I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Look at that face. Gosh, that woman. You know what? And this was years ago. For years, we've known that these people have been condoning getting out there and being violent. How is that not inciting violence? Okay? Anti-Trump rhetoric, TDS, people attacking Trump supporters. They got stabbed in DC a month ago. What? The hypocrisy of the left, the Democrats, drives me crazy. And like we talked about it last night. Tiffany was on the show. We were talking about it, how they're not even hiding it anymore. It's not even like they're trying to be slow and sneaky with it. They just like, whatever, we don't even care. It works. See, we could just be blatant about it. And the TDS is so strong in their, group, their, everything. It's pretty insane. I can't even, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to know that they are allowed to get away with basically anything, literally inciting violence. When we have, here, this was from the Trump campaign. Let me just find it real quick. For immediate release, this is from today. In light of reports of more demonstration, I urge that there must be no violence, no lawbreaking, no vandalism of any kind. This is not what I stand for. This is not what America stands for. I call for all Americans to help ease tensions and calm tempers. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. And that's how the vibe I was getting from him the whole time. Look, I was there in D.C. I listened to his rally. I was standing there listening to him. He said, peacefully walk to the Capitol building, not aggressively. Let's go peacefully. He said he was going to go with us. He was like, we're all going to go down there and peaceably protest outside of the Capitol building. He didn't tell anyone to storm anything. He didn't say go in there and try to burn it down. Oh yeah, that's right. That was actually an anti-Trump Black Lives Matter protester. Oh yeah. Let me just pull a little receipt out here. Black Lives Matter activist inside the Capitol laughingly says he was documenting riots. Once said, burn it all down. That's right. There's a video of this guy saying, I got to burn this down. We got to burn this place down. What? What? I thought it was all Trump supporters. No, it wasn't. Okay? More and more proof is coming out that it wasn't all Trump supporters that were inside. Okay. I'm not going to say that they weren't inside. I'm sure they were. I bet there was a lot of clueless people in there that had no idea what was going on. They were following the ropes. You know, they were being corralled perfectly through. I'm sure there was a couple nutheads in there, as there's a couple nutheads in every human society ever, and there always will be. That's the way it goes. Not all humans are with it. Okay? It's going to happen. But now we're seeing this proof that people that aren't Trump supporters dressed up as Trump supporters to frame Trump supporters. Let me see. There's a picture of him with I don't have the image, but he took a picture of himself wearing a Trump hat. And now, because the internet is forever and people are really good at using the internet and cross-referencing pictures and scouring the different riots that have happened. Yes, I call them riots. All right, sure, I'll add peaceful protests with the quotes, of course, because we all know the reality of that situation. Well, how much can we hear that when we're seeing the opposite? When we're seeing that there are actual Antifa that dressed up, that, you know, I don't know if this guy's Antifa, but he certainly is an activist for Black Lives Matter, dressed and was seen, you know, being in anti-Trump groups. Now he's wearing a Trump hat, trying to burn down the Capitol building. While inside the Capitol building, there's a video of him saying it inside the Capitol building. So who's really inciting the violence? That's what I have to ask. And I'll tell you what, it's not President Trump. No, it's the Democrats. They've convinced anyone who isn't a Trump supporter that Trump is the worst person. He's so evil. Even if you vote for him, now suddenly you're evil. I know personally people that are trying to convince my friends that I still hang out with that I'm evil somehow. I still know who they are. And through the grapevine, I'm finding out that that's what they're doing. Where are they getting this information? Why am I suddenly evil? I haven't changed. The only thing that's changed in my life is I'm more politically aware than ever before in my entire life because I actually pay attention. I have a feeling if I had a political conversation with any of those people, they would be clueless. I do this every single day. I pay attention to what's going on in politics. It's ridiculous. I can't believe that, you know, and shout out to Savannah Hernandez. She's been on my show a couple times. She was banned from Twitter. I guess Instagram is not letting her go live anymore. She's got videos of, she was there at the beginning at the confrontation between the police and the, I'm going to use quotes here, the Trump supporters, which is weird because Trump was still speaking when the clash happened. Trump supporters went to D.C. to listen to Trump speak. Okay? The people that were clashing at those cops, he was still speaking. These people, what were they doing there before Trump finished speaking? It's like That doesn't make any sense. Okay, now watching the video, I see a lot of people dressed in all black. But Savannah had a video and she was talking about how, of course it was Trump supporters. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah, they're pissed. And they have every right to be. And I'm like, okay, I see you have a point. There are Trump supporters who have seen the evidence and then have seen that no one is allowing anyone to talk about the evidence. They're not allowed to talk about the evidence. Well, why is that? Well, what's the reason? Well, because they don't want anyone to see. No court has seen any evidence of the fraud. None. Why not? Why can't we get to the point where we present the evidence? Congress didn't even see the evidence. They started objecting, but then people got into the Capitol building and ended that. The Democrats were probably stoked, which it makes more sense that it would be because they wanted it to happen. Perfect. Now we get to blame Trump for all this and rush the vote through and put Biden in. Done. Done. Boom. Does that not make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. Makes perfect sense? There's too many things buzzing around, all right? Look, the narrative is Trump incited violence. Not once did he incite violence. They're changing the context of what he said and saying, well, they actually meant this. Now, that is a very dangerous precedent. To be able to say, though that's not what he meant, this is what he meant. Are you hearing me what I'm saying? They are literally going to be able to say, anything you say, we can see how it means this, even though it doesn't. When we have a press release saying, no violence, please. Trump's last video before he was banned off Twitter was saying, no violence. Please stop the violence. I condemn what happened at the Capitol building. Banned. Why did he get banned for that? He was literally saying, don't be violent. Stop being violent. You know why? Because they didn't want people seeing that and sharing that around. They needed to believe this narrative that Trump is spreading and inciting violence. They need that. They need him to be the boogeyman forever. What's going to happen when he's gone? Who are they going to blame for their failures? Who are they going to blame for the things that are wrong in their life? Because right now it's all Orange Man. Orange Man's at fault for literally everything. How dare he? It's because of Trump. It's because of Trump that our lives are so terrible. Little do they know that their lives are incredible here, and they have a lot going for them, and they just are sad because they have to work for life. But now they've been able to blame Trump for the past 4 years. It's been perfect for them. These people need someone to blame. They aren't being held accountable for their own actions. And that's actually an interesting point. These Democrats, they're not being held accountable for actually inciting violence. No. It's Orange Man bad. They're literally, let's go back to that meme, shall we? I mean, it's a good reference point. Look at this meme. Look behind them. Now, obviously, they are added. The flames weren't actually there, but those are real flames from actual riots that actually happened over the past year. It's so weird to say last year, but it was last year. Middle of the summer, 2020, small businesses were being burnt. People's livelihoods were being burnt. They were fighting for injustice for minorities, but then burning down those same minorities' homes and businesses, ruining their lives. They weren't fighting for injustice. They were pissed and lashing back because they were convinced that they should, that it was a good thing because these people were inciting violence. That's right. You were inciting violence, Pelosi, Kamala, Waters. What is that last girl's name? I forget her name. Presley, right. It's ridiculous. They're out there. They've been inciting violence against Trump supporters, against the Trump administration, pretty much his entire presidency. Stop making noises. Thank you. Quiet, you. Talking to the UFO. Not you. Not you. You guys are fine. You guys are fine. I'm just so fed up with this. Look at this. Where's this tweet? Hold on, let me find it. Nancy Pelosi, May 16th, 2017. Our election was hijacked. There is no question. Congress has a duty to protect our democracy and follow the facts. What? Did you hear what I just said? That was Nancy Pelosi claiming the election was stolen. Hijacked. And there's no question. It was a statement. There is no question. Well, then why didn't you fight for it, Pelosi? If you truly believe that. What were you trying to do? Were you trying to incite some sort of anti-Trump rhetoric to say that he stole the election? Well, you know what, Nancy? Guess what? I looked into it, and there actually was voter fraud. Yeah, that's right. In Wisconsin, for example, they recognized that there was some voter irregularities, and they brought it right to the Hillary campaign. They said, hey, we found some irregularities. You should definitely check it out. What's going on with this? And what did the Hillary campaign do? They squashed it. It disappeared. It was a dead end. Well, what happened to all that evidence? Why weren't they looking into it? Was it because they weren't expecting Trump to win the specific places that he did and actually win the Electoral College, which, by the way, they're now trying to get rid of? They don't want to be a republic anymore. They want to be a democracy. They want the powers in numbers. They want to convince the brainwashed masses that having an Electoral College is not the best thing. Well, if that's what they do, all of the small states, the small population states, are losing their voice. They won't have a voice anymore. They won't have a choice in what goes on in this country. That right there is a scary precedent that they're trying to push forward. They're trying to get rid of being a republic, which is interesting because a republic is everyone has a voice. I think that's beautiful. Even the smallest minority has a voice. The smallest state has a say, is part of the conversation. Well, a democracy is not. That's the majority rules, period. That's what a democracy is. Well, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic, okay? And they're trying to get rid of that. And here she's saying, well, the election was hijacked. Well, I mean, is she some sort of mind reader for the future? Because that's what I'm seeing. So what, she's saying that the 2016 election was stolen, but we're not allowed to even just have the facts presented to us to show us that it wasn't this time around? My goodness. The left is insane.